I've never sat across the table from him.
No.
You're not getting out of jail. It makes me physically sick to look at
Do the
you.
DNA test will prove you
Don't
right.
tell me how to do my job. Do you believe everything they put on TV is real? How stupid are you? Really, Isabella? Does that make any goddamn sense to you?
Stop calling me Isabella.
That's your name.
No, it's not.
A suburban home, a teenage daughter, and a crime so gruesome that even veteran detectives were left shaken. This is the chilling story of Isabella Guzman, and it will leave you questioning how well we ever truly know the people closest to us. The calm before the storm. It was the evening of August 28th, 2013, a Wednesday like any other in the quiet city of Aurora, Colorado. The sun dipped below the horizon at 7:37 p.m., leaving the neighborhood of Twin Creek in a peaceful stillness. On South Kalispell Street, porch lights flickered on, dogs barked in distant yards, and life moved as normally as it always had. Inside a modest two-story home, 18-year-old Isabella Guzman was under the same roof as her mother, Yunmi Hoy. Neighbors would later recall that Isabella often seemed distant, withdrawn. Some described her as polite but off. Others admitted they noticed arguments between mother and daughter, but never thought much of it. After all, every family fights. No one could have guessed that those fights were leading to something far darker, a mother's fears. Yunmi Hoy had confided in friends about her daughter's troubling behavior. She was afraid of Isabella's anger, afraid of her mood swings, afraid of what she might do. Even Yunmi's ex-husband, Ryan Hoy, had been called to the house earlier that day after yet another heated argument. When Ryan arrived, he tried to mediate, but Isabella was distant, cold, and uncooperative. Nothing he said could break through her wall of defiance. He left the house uneasy but hopeful that things would calm down. But by nightfall, that fragile hope was gone. The night everything changed. At around 9:30 p.m., neighbors reported the house becoming strangely still. No laughter, no TV sounds, just silence. Then, at 9:55 p.m., Ryan received a frantic call from Yunmi. She was terrified, begging him to come back. But it was already too late. Inside the house, Isabella waited for her mother to enter the bathroom. Yunmi stepped into the shower, unaware of what her daughter was planning. At 10 p.m., Isabella armed herself with a large kitchen knife. Moments later, she stormed into the bathroom. The sound of the shower masked her approach. Then, in a frenzy of rage, she attacked, stabbing her mother over 150 times. The violence was unimaginable. Blood spattered across the tiles. The shower curtain ripped away in the struggle. Neighbors later reported hearing faint thuds and muffled screams, but no one realized what was happening just feet away from their own homes. By the time Ryan arrived, the nightmare was already in motion. He found blood seeping from beneath the bathroom door. When he forced it open, the sight before him was beyond comprehension. His wife brutally murdered, his stepdaughter standing nearby. Ryan called 911 immediately. His voice shook as he tried to explain the horror. But before officers could arrive, Isabella fled into the night. The investigation begins. Aurora police officers arrived within minutes. They entered the home cautiously, the silence inside heavier than any they had felt before. Every step revealed more of the carnage: the bathroom, the weapon, the trail of blood leading toward the back door. Detectives quickly realized this wasn't an accident. This was a deliberate act of rage, one that had been building over time. The search for Isabella Guzman began immediately. The following day, after an overnight manhunt, she was located near a relative's home. When officers arrested her, they were struck by her demeanor. No tears, no fear, just a cold, almost detached calm. Inside the interrogation room, during questioning, Isabella's behavior disturbed even seasoned investigators. She sat calmly, answering some questions, ignoring others. At times, she spoke in ways that made little sense, hinting at voices and visions that had influenced her actions. She claimed she had been chosen, that killing her mother was necessary. Detectives exchanged uneasy glances. Was this cold-blooded murder, or the mind of someone deeply unwell?
You're one of the most evil person I've ever sat across the table from.
No.
You're not getting out of jail. It makes me
You can get
physically
sick all
sick
you want.
to look at
Do
you.
the DNA test that will prove me
Don't
right.
tell me how to do my job.
I watch forensic files.
Do you believe everything they put on TV is real?
I thought
How
it was
stupid are you?
Yeah.
Really, Isabella? Does that make any goddamn sense to you?
Isabella. Stop calling me Isabella.
The Courtroom Drama. In 2014, Isabella's case went before the court. Prosecutors argued that she had planned the murder, pointing to the sheer number of stab wounds and the brutality of the attack. To them, this was no temporary loss of control. It was an execution. But the defense painted a different picture. Isabella wasn't evil. She was sick. Psychiatric experts diagnosed her with severe schizophrenia. They claimed she was hearing voices, experiencing delusions, and was convinced that killing her mother would save the world. Courtroom spectators watched in disbelief. The evidence of her guilt was undeniable, but the question wasn't whether she did it. It was whether she understood what she was doing. The verdict. After weeks of testimony, the court delivered its decision. Not guilty by reason of insanity. Isabella Guzman would not spend life in prison. Instead, she was committed to the Colorado Mental Health Institute in Pueblo. The ruling divided the public. Some saw her as a monster who escaped justice, while others viewed her as a tragic figure, a young woman consumed by mental illness that had gone untreated for too long. Years later, years passed quietly until Isabella resurfaced in the media. In 2020, she requested release from the hospital, claiming she was rehabilitated and posed no threat. In a rare interview, she expressed remorse, saying her illness had driven her actions and that she wished she could undo the past. But for many, her words offered little comfort. The community still remembered the brutality of the murder, the 150 stab wounds, the terror of that night, and above all, the devastating loss of a mother who had tried to protect her daughter. The psychological puzzle. The Isabella Guzman case forces us to ask difficult questions. Where does accountability end and illness begin? Can someone commit such a horrific crime and still be considered a victim of their own mind? Mental health professionals argue that untreated schizophrenia can warp reality so completely that victims genuinely believe their delusions. But for the public, and especially for Yunmi Hoi's loved ones, those explanations don't erase the horror of what happened in that bathroom. Closing reflection. The story of Isabella Guzman is not just about murder. It's about a family torn apart by untreated illness, a community shaken to its core, and a justice system forced to confront the fine line between madness and malice. The house where it happened still stands. A reminder of the night peace in Aurora was shattered forever. And so we are left with chilling questions. Could this have been prevented if Isabella had received help sooner? Or was this tragedy inevitable? If this story left you shaken, don't forget to hit like and share it with someone who follows true crime mysteries. And subscribe, because there are darker stories still to come. Stories you won't want to miss.